Okay, so there was this one fight. It was my wife's brother, her little brother. Actually, it was her older brother, Stephen, but he was small. I was a senior in high school, and I'd gotten a lot of fights over him because he would talk shit to people, and then, you know, he would expect me to, you know, look at me for to handle it. So, anyways, I was walking through the halls, and I go into the room, and this kid was new, and he was a big. I met he was because I didn't really know him, but he was on the football team, and Steven was talking to him, and he was like, "Fuck you," you know. I'm like, "Oh God." And then this guy's like not wanting to fight him. He's like, "Dude, I'll throw you through a fucking wall." I'm standing behind this guy Mike. His name was Mike, and Steven sees me, so he's getting more brash, and he's like, "Fuck, I'll piss in your face," just saying crude things. I'm like, I'd smack him if I was this guy. And then this guy goes to grab him, and I grab him, and then they separate us. And then I'm like, "Don't fucking touch him." And he's like, "What are you gonna do?" I'm like, "Oh, all right." So, and then I'm sitting in class. It was like home ec. And I'm like, just stewing, you know, because he flipped me off and called me a cocksucker and all this stuff. And I was like, ah. So then I'm like, I have to go to the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom. I go out. I know around what class he's in. So I'm looking. I see him, and then he sees me. I hold up hall pass, and I'm like, and so he comes, and I'm like, "What's up, motherfucker?" And he's like, "Would you tell me?" I'm like, "Let's go to the bathroom." So he follows me to the bathroom. I'm like, cool. So I'm taking my jacket off and put it up, and he comes like, "Whop, whop, whop," trying to hit me. I'm like, "You fucking cheap motherfucker." So I turn around, I lift him up, I double leg him where his feet go up, and I just slam on the ground. I let him get back up, and then his head hit the ground, so he's kind of wobbly. And I always, even boxing as a kid, I always thought of the 3-2. I liked it because the hook would get their hands up, and the two would come right down the pipe, boom. So I hit him with that, bam, bam. His head falls into the because I knock him back through the. This is bad. I knock him back through the toilet, and then so I start putting the boot to him, boom, boom. And not like where it was just egregious, like fucking almost killing the guy, but he's about unconscious. So I zip, I piss all over him. Oh God, that was bad, horrible, because fuck yeah, it was, don't judge me if you're seeing this. So he had said something like "piss on you." So so the security guard comes in, and he actually he cornered my fights a couple times too. His name was D. Hollingsworth, a great guy. And he's like, "Joe, get out of here, go." And I'm like, "Okay, go." So I'm waiting for the principal to be called. The guy never told on me at all. I mean, his face was fucked up, you know. And then D's like, you know, because he hit me. I mean, I had a red mark on my face. I told D, I'm like, "Yeah, he blindsided me." And so he goes, "How'd you get to pissing on him?" And I was like, "I don't know, bad decision, you know." And then so I never got in trouble for that. So the guy, you know, I give him props for, you know, coming to fight me, you know, because people told him about me before, so he knew. But you know, I give him props for even doing that. But in the football field, this other guy named Noah Taylor. So we're outside, and we're playing football, and we're not playing football. It's football practice, and it's like special teams. And I love special teams. I love ear hauling people from the side. They don't see it. They send him flying, and I just crack him, and he's like, "Piss on you, motherfucker!" And I'm like, I hated that. I hated when people said that to me, and he kept going on and on and on, and then so I waited till he got all of his clothes on, and he's in the bathroom taking a shit. Kick open the door, boom, start peeing on him again, and then he's just like, then he gets up and he starts throwing punches, and I'm just like, bang, and falls on the ground, and then I'm like, "Piss on you, motherfucker," you know, and then. So I'm walking, and again, I'm not a bully at all. The same guy picked up a guy, this young guy in PE. He had grabbed him by the neck and choked him. This kid was 130 pounds, and choked him unconscious, let him go, and the kid's head at the ground. Whole reason why I looked for him on the football field to ear hole him, you know, because he was a bully, a dickhead. And then so the guy's dad comes to school the next day. And he's like, "Where's this kid at? I'll kick his ass." I'm thinking, he has the right to be mad. I mean, I'm not gonna. I was never disrespectful to his father. His father was like, If there was nobody around here, I'd stomp your ass. If you were over 18, I'm like, I am. And then I'm like, but I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. And then he was like, fuck you. I ended up being friends with this guy later on in life. So, if someone peed on my son, I would have been mad too. So I let him get that out of there. But my dad shows up in it was the what do they call it, the sports administrator at the high school, and he was telling my dad I peed on someone. My dad's like, one thing, my son would never pee on somebody. How dare you? Then I sit down and my dad's like, Joe, I'm like, yeah. He's like, fuck. And so that was hard for my dad to take that. But another time that was fun. There was this guy. He was like 20. No, this is my freshman year. Okay, so this guy he was a senior in high school, and it was like my second day of school. I cried my first day of school, my first day in high school, because I didn't know where to go. Because I just sat there and cried. Nobody saw me, thank God. But I remember I was walking to lunch, and this guy bumps into me. He should have graduated 2 years ago. He's like, he had this like, when he called somebody a motherfucker, it was like, I wanted to like take a shower. And it was like, he was like, watch where you going, motherfucker. I'm like, all right, fucking, I'll bite. I'll just, whatever. Then he kept fucking me all day. I'm just like, fuck you, man. And then I was like, we were gonna meet across the street because my friend lived right across the street, and it was right across the street where I got shot at like the year before on this road. No, the next year. So our friends lived right there. So when we met there, I called my brother who was on house arrest to come be there for some reason. Because I was already wrestling, already doing all this stuff. So he tries to cheap shot me, and I take him down with some leg sweep. But first time I figured out to hold people's hands down where I could hit him. Like it was like it was a crucifix kind of. I was just like whap, 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 and then over and over and over. Where I stopped. I stopped hitting because his face was looking pretty fucking bad. And then his friend kicks me in the face. Boom. Right in the face. And I have like 3 friends. I'm like, fucking thanks, dickhead. And then so I'd get up and, this guy was really tall. Really tall. They called him Blue from like the Jungle Book. And he kicked me in the face with like Kodiak grip work boots, man. I could bust my grill up. And then, so I was, because I know from boxing, I would, anybody tall, I'd go low and then go high. So I threw like a straight left the body and just a hook over the top. Boom. He just fell like a tree. Boom. And I was a better person. I didn't put the boot to him. I didn't kick him, but then cops came and nobody pressed charges. I think I've never been in trouble with the police. But, I didn't start any of those. I just finished them. So yeah, I got in a lot of skirmishes like that in high school.